small, well, I guess you can call it truck stop in Montreal. I started driving back to Ontario after loading. And I never stopped here, and right away I know why. Because you see, it's all, you have to back, and it's just single spot, very short. So it's not gonna work for me. But then I saw this guy over here with a K-Whopper W900. Cool looking truck. I like when they paint the tanks, you know, similar color to the color of the truck. Studio sleeper. Yeah, pretty cool looking truck. So anyway, I saw this guy park like this, but he has a 4-axle tanker trailer, but he parked to the side. And so I figured, hey, I park like that, but of course I'm longer. And over there in the distance where the drive-ins go, that's Auto Route 20, which becomes 401 in 20 kilometers in Ontario. And the trick is, I gotta leave soon, because if somebody blocks me on this side, like one guy stopped here to grab coffee, but he left pretty quickly. But I have to make this turn, and to get to 20 west, I have to go straight like this. If I go that way, that's 20 east. So I have to go where that car is. So I have to go like. But anyway, I wanted to, and as you can see, there's snow. Well, Quebec, there's always snow here in winter. Everything is in French. You see diesel, right? Everything is in French. So if you don't know French, you cannot get diesel or gas. Of course I'm kidding. I have no idea. I think gas is the same. Well, it's too bad we have no comments now on the video, so people cannot correct me. Okay, so what happened with the loading? Rather with the unloading. I shut down in Napanee, right? You saw from the previous video, it was called Port Huron to Michigan. So I did some crazy time, but I shut down because it was getting dark. So I shut down in Napanee, and from Napanee to my delivery in Montreal, it's 300 kilometers. So almost like 200 miles, you know. You need at least 3 hours if you drive like a maniac. And so I set up my alarm clock for 2:45 in the morning, and I lied in the bed. I'm thinking, no, that's not gonna work. So I changed the clock to 3. Okay, so 3 o'clock it starts beeping. I wake up and go get my coffee, brush my teeth, and I come back, and on the night before I noticed that my DEF, like a constant issue, right? My DEF was getting low, so I need to buy DEF. And I'm thinking, every minute now counts, because I want to enter Quebec, you know, before 7. And so basically, yeah, I don't wanna drive, you know, in the intense traffic and stuff like that, because, you know, it's oversized load. It's early morning is perfect. So anyway, I park, I go, and for some reason I always end up pump 22, because it's a good location. So, you know, I leave my parking, I do like a circle, and I pull in pump 22. I go inside, I say, can I prepay for pump 22? And the girl says, 22 and 23 both don't work, so you have to move to another pump. I said, forget it, I don't have time for this. I said, give me a box, give me a container of DEF. So a container, of course, it's much more expensive, but, you know, at least this way you're protected if something happens, you know, because the engine will just shut down if you run too low on DEF. And so I grabbed one container, and I drove without stopping from Napanee to Pointe Claire, Quebec, which is pretty much Montreal, just off 40, and stopped there. This Hymas Boulevard, and I did my research on the night before. I checked out, you know, Google Maps, Street View, Satellite View, so I'm familiar with where I'm delivering. And it's like a long building with a narrow entrance from the Hymas, from the street, but it's like a single building, but they call it like industrial park. So it's all kind of like small companies that rent space, like small shops inside that building. And it looks like on the satellite view, it looks like I can go around, you know. And I thought, okay, I'll just go from this Hymas, go into the driveway and park there, probably unload right there. And I could see the sign on Street View. I could see the sign of this company where I'm delivering. And I don't know, this guy leaving or what? I see his hand on the steering wheel because I don't think he can leave with me here. Maybe we should start driving. You know what? Let's start driving and I'll finish the story as we're driving. Because there's no reason for me to sit here. I was just talking to a guy. Some guy has a... I'm going. So this is some crazy intersection over here. Okay, these guys stop. All right. Engine noise becomes worse and worse. I just talked to the shop in Aberfoyle, where now I go instead of Kenworth, because the labor rate is $90 Canadian an hour instead of $155. But do you hear this? Okay, I'll show you once I increase the speed. Like it's really like a whistle, you know. I thought at first it was maybe a belt. No, because it doesn't depend on the RPM, you know. Like I'm driving at the same RPM, so it only depends on throttle. And I thought maybe my turbo is bad. I don't know. Like the truck is 2.5 years old. I have what, 254,000 kilometers, which is 60 and 60, 120, 150,000 miles. So there's no way a turbo would go, you know. But something is going on. So I talked to Mick at Transaxle, and I said I have some weird noise coming from the engine, and it sounds like a whistle, not like a belt, you know, not like squeaking. And he says, oh, usually when we hear this, he says, usually it's either the loose clamp on an air-to-air hose or a hole in the hose. And I said, yeah, that's what I thought as well, but I check all the clamps. I tightened, actually one clamp was loose, but I tightened it and it didn't do anything. And I even looked and put my hand behind these, you know, rubber hoses, just trying to feel if there's a hole, but I could not feel anything. I think sometimes, you know, I'm a big fan of putting double clamps, because from the factory, you know, you only have one clamp on each side of the rubber hose, right? I always put two, and unfortunately what happens, this already happened before, that second clamp starts cutting into the rubber hose, you know, and probably that's what it is. But anyway, these guys, they're always open for business. I said, hey, cool if I drop by tomorrow morning so you guys can take a look. He says, yeah, sure. Okay. So now I'm just driving back. So it's 10:26 a.m. Tuesday, and I have 565 kilometers to go back to Toronto, to Cambridge. I never could get any loads out of here. I just exchanged an email, by the way, with a guy. He has a load out of US to Western Canada, but he wants me to load Friday. But that's that. Hold on, I want to set up. Screw this. We'll do 92, 93. Okay. Oh, hold on. I want to get to 95. It doesn't want to give me 95. '96, '94. I'm just trying to adjust my cruise control. Come on, 95. Oh, perfect. 95 kilometers an hour, that's 59, because my speedometer is in metric. All right. So it's the easiest way is it's all 5 kilometers, like 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. Like big numbers, you know, like easy. So that's what empty, I drive like this. Yeah, my def is a quarter of a tank. But anyway, so this guy has this load, pays okay, but the shipper is 700 miles away from my Cambridge yard, and he wants me to load Friday. I said, hey, and I'm still, you know, I want to stop by tomorrow, Wednesday, and fix the truck, see what's going on with this crazy noise. I said, hey, can you push the loading to Monday, because I'm pretty far. And the guy says, okay, let me check with the customer. So hopefully by the time I reach home, he's gonna get back to me. So that would be a nice load. Finally, I would use my Jeep. Oh, and by the way, the Jeep has I need to do annual inspection on the Jeep, but I'm just gonna load it on the deck and drive like that. And somewhere in the States, that's the best way, just to do the inspection on the way to the shipper. And my customer that I move those Cat 336 for, he has a cat in the yard, so I can ask his permission to let me use his excavator to lift the Jeep and put it on my deck. I'm pretty sure he'll be okay with that. But anyway, so what happened at the unloading, right? So I researched everything. I had a pretty good idea what the building looked like, and it's a 4-lane road, and even on Google Maps I could see that it's pretty busy. This Hymas Boulevard, it's pretty busy. And I stop in the curb lane. I put my flashing lights on. I have my you know, rooftop flashing light on. But it's crazy, there's traffic, you know, just flying by. And I tried calling them just because there's so many doors. I wasn't sure where to go. And also Google Maps says that these guys open at 8. It was still like 7:30. And then I see some guys coming out onto the driveway, and he has the jacket, and the name on the jacket is the name of the company where I'm delivering. And so I said, so where do I go? Where do I unload? And he's I don't know. Like, I said, what do you mean? Can I go in here, like on this you know, inside this industrial park? And he says, oh, it's very slippery here. He says, we have like black ice in here, and there's a big hill right from the road to enter this park, or that parking lot over there. It's a very steep hill, and he says it's all icy and it's like black ice. He says you'll be stuck in here. He says the best way is to unload on the street. I said, on the road? There's like cars and buses and trucks flying by. And then some other guy comes out and he says the same thing. He says, yeah, you're gonna be stuck. And he tells guy number one, go grab some cones and we'll just, you know, mark the trailer. And I said, hey guys, it's okay. I said, I have a couple of small red cones and I'll just put them in the back. And so that's what I did. I grabbed some cones, put them in the back, and right away it became, of course, it became much easier for people to see what's going on. I noticed right away that people were changing lanes much sooner, and they were all going into the fast lane. And that's it. So I took the chains off. The guy says, can we try starting the machine to see if it works? And this was the guy who was parked next to me. I cannot pronounce the name, but it sounds like Odek Transport. Probably hauling fuel or something. Big tanker. Just, he has 3-axle truck, 4-axle trailer, 7 axles. And yeah, so the guy tried to start it, doesn't work. Okay, and I don't remember if the shipper disconnected the battery. Turns out he did. So the forklift guy, you know, turned that switch. The battery's on. He was able to start the machine. And it took me maybe 15-20 minutes to take off all the chains. And I put some boards under his tires in the front, because I remember the rear of the machine, where the counterweight was pretty low. And once he rolled off those boards in the back, I put those also in the front as well, just to raise it a bit more. And that's it. And then I said, hey, can you please come back, and don't forget I need you to sign my paperwork. And he says, okay. And so he went, he parked the forklift, and I see people like him. He's driving this huge forklift on the road, but of course he just needed to do like 10 meters, 30 feet from the trailer to the driveway. But people were freaking out, like there was a traffic coming from that side, from this side. And you know, imagine you're driving on the road and you see this 3-story high forklift the size of a little house, Jesus, people started slowing down. I see everybody stopped in both directions. He just went into the driveway, and while I was taking my chains off, I noticed that he put some ice melting stuff, you know, that special sand he put on that hill at the entrance. But yeah, that forklift is like 85,000 pounds, you know, like it has lots of pressure on the tires, so very good friction, traction. And speaking about axles, I just remembered something interesting. Like that guy, right? He has a 3-axle truck, 4-axle trailer. And so yesterday I ordered my permit, right, for Quebec. And I said 4-axle truck, 4-axle trailer. And then the guy emails me back. He says, if you want to get a permit for 4 axles on the truck, you won't get the permit right away, because he says as soon as you have like a tri-drive or a tandem plus lift axle, like as soon as the truck has three axles in the back, it's considered a special configuration. And he says this takes longer. So he says, are you okay lifting the lift axle? Because then I can get you 25,000 kgs on the tandem. And I'm like, holy mackerel, I thought they told me that maximum I can do is 49,000 pounds on the lift and the drives in Quebec. Now this guy is telling me that actually if you lift the pusher axle, they will give you 25,000 kgs, which is 55,000 pounds on a tandem. And that's why these pusher axles, they're not very popular here. They're not popular here in Quebec. You know, that's why they use tag axles. They add like a removable axle, kind of like a flip axle, except it does not flip. You can just hook it up to the frame of the truck in the back, put some pins in, and that's a tag axle. And it works better because this increases your wheelbase, and that's what Quebec wants. Quebec wants you to have a long wheelbase. So anyway, but of course I cannot get 55 because my drive axles are rated for 23,000 pounds each, so 46 per tandem. So you cannot go over your factory rating, right? So I don't know, do you guys hear that? Like my ear is so tuned in now for this noise. Like, check this out. So now we're in cruise control, right? I'm just gonna push the throttle slightly in and out while still driving at 95 km an hour. Let's check this out. Do you hear that? Like the tone? How the tone changes? It starts whistling like when I push the throttle in, it starts whistling at a higher note, and then it goes down, up, down, like a musical instrument. So I push the throttle, the noise becomes high, the tone becomes higher. I release the throttle, the whistle becomes lower. So it's definitely a hole. It's definitely a hole in the hose. But you know, I can do it myself, but it's -5 outside. But then I have to go and find buy the hose. And this is the first rest area in Quebec, which means that we're coming to Ontario, and I already see the sign. Yeah, I just need to write down my mileage. 254 254-092 092 Ontario. Welcome to Ontario. I love this. I love when I get back to Ontario. And as soon as you enter 750 meters, there's a rest area, but I'm not gonna stop here. I think I'll just keep driving back to where I started this morning, Napanee. By the way, Napanee, one of the reasons I stopped there because they have Denny's inside. Now guess what? I forgot that Ontario now is on this orange, red, whatever COVID-19 restrictions, right? And so all restaurants are open, but for takeout only. And so I go there and everything is closed. And there's a big sign on the door that says due to COVID-19 restrictions in Ontario, this restaurant has been closed as of January 25th for 28 days. Estimated reopening date is January 25, which was yesterday. Now check this out. I'm driving and there's a sign that says 4.2 meters under the overpass. Okay, wait a second. So this one is 4.2, 4.3. Okay, 4.3. What's about the other side? Oh, nothing on the other side. It's only this. But it was a bit scary, you know, driving with that forklift. Jeez, like that mast. It was a bit stressful, you know. But loading was okay. We didn't break anything, right? Except next time, like I mentioned before, I'm not gonna leave the shipper until the machine is washed. That's it. Must be washed. Unloading, it was crazy dangerous, but I had the cones out, I had my flashing lights, I had the rooftop light. And the guy, by the way, the guy says, yeah, let's put out cones. He says, otherwise cops might give you a ticket. I said, wait a second, cops? Are you saying that, like, I don't want a ticket? No, it's okay, he says, usually they're reasonable, just put the cones out and keep your flashing lights on. Unbelievable. Like, somebody has, and this company, they're a forklift dealer. So they buy, sell, and service large forklifts. Now, how does a large forklift arrive at their facility? Does it come on a ship? No. Does it come on a plane? No. Chances are it'll come the same way it came this morning, on a truck, on a big truck with a lawn trailer with many axles, because that forklift was somewhere between 80 and 85,000 pounds. And yet they have no room, they have no turnaround, and they have a hill like this, 50 degrees. Like, you know, RGN, right? That's why it's called low boy. Low boy. It's very low. You cannot go when there's a hill like this. Like that late comic used to say, you know, I get no respect. So truckers, carriers, we get no respect. And don't forget, the machine had only 2 D-rings, and only because they needed them to take off the counterweight in the back. There's a 0 Zero tie downs anywhere. So the manufacturer does not want people to ship this machine and then ship as consignees. They have no idea how to load, unload. Well, actually, yeah, the place where I loaded in Ohio, it was better, right? Because I was able to go around the building. I parked there, I backed, and I wasn't in the way. So except they didn't have they didn't have the pressure washer. And there was no way to stop there, so I just drove to that little truck stop, and I scanned my paperwork, you know, my proof of delivery. So I sent it to the broker, and then I did a quick email to my factoring company, like, you know, factoring request. Send them everything, including proof of delivery and rate confirmation, and so they said, "Yep, we'll be paid today." So usually I get the money around 2 o'clock. So as long as I send them the paperwork before 10, I see money in my account around 2 o'clock on the same day. Now, some people might argue that it's not very smart to factor, but it's the same thing as a loan or a credit card, right? You pay for convenience. I don't have time chasing brokers. You know, if I collect checks from brokers, I have to set up an invoicing system. I have to track, you know, did they pay me on time? When did they pay me? You know, like this way, factoring company, it's kind of like my accounting department, right? So they take care of the payment, and that's it. I don't have to worry about it. Like, I just did this load, send the paperwork to the factoring company, that's it. The book is closed. I don't have to worry about this customer. I don't have to worry about this broker. So I don't agree that basically I am totally confident that factoring has its place. That's why factoring companies exist. And yeah, of course they charge you interest. They're not gonna work for free. But my company, it's non-recourse. So they pay me today. If, let's say, 30 days down the road, that's usually how brokers take up to 30 days to pay you. So if after 30 days my factoring company cannot collect money, that's their problem. They don't come after me. That's why it's called non-recourse. But of course, that's why they are strict. Before I book a load, I always check with them to make sure this particular broker is approved, you know, like in terms of credit. I can do it on the website. Well, that's another convenience. So factoring company gives me access to this tool which is called credit check. You see, so there's another value in here, another advantage of factoring. And so I go in there, I just punch in, let's say, MC number of the broker or their name and state, and the software tells me if it's okay or not okay, or basically sometimes it says cannot give you a definite answer, please call us. But I found out that if it says call us, usually it's denied. But a couple of times actually it was approved, but most of the time I just do it on the website, and I see right away green light, like the page is green, means good credit. The page on the web page is yellow, means caution, call us. And then if the page is red, it means that the broker is on no buy list, do not work with, you know, like they won't factor. And that's it. So this also helps me to select good brokers. So I don't know, I'm a big fan of factoring, I'm telling you. Like, and also I hope you guys understand that money loses value in the future, right? So let's say if I give you $2,000, let's say let's say you're selling a car, right? And I say, okay, I'll buy your car for $1 million, but I will pay you in 20 years. So I want to take your car, we do a deal, we sign the agreement. So 20 years down the road, you will receive $1 million for this Hyundai Sonata. How's that? And I would say, screw this. I'm not waiting 20 years for $1 million. I'd rather have, let's say, $50,000 tomorrow. How's that? And so money in the hand is always worth more than money down the road. So let's say somebody pays you like a broker, right? I do a load, the load pays, I don't know, $20,000. I can lose a small percentage and I'm paid on the same day, or I can wait a month and get the same $20,000, but then that $20,000 is not the same as this $20,000. There's a value, future value of money goes down. And that's what some people with limited imagination don't understand. Everything has its place. Factoring is good. Complaining is bad. Anyway, the weather is looking up. Check this out. -5. I think I started in the morning, it was -8. Now at -5. Just a couple more degrees and it'll be like Florida. Oh, another W9, but ugly color, like my first truck. Remember that International? See, so 804. So the last kilometer marker or mile marker between Quebec and Ontario is 825 or something like that. So that means that from here to Windsor, Ontario, to the end of Canada is just over 500 miles. Or 804 kilometers. So if you keep going like this and keep driving non-stop, then tonight you'll be in Windsor, and then if you can cross the river, you'll be in Detroit, Michigan. And so of course I'm driving west, or rather southwest. So to my left there'll be a lake or river. I think there'll be a lake eventually. And over there there's US. US is to the south and like real close here to the south. And I see there's a plane. And then 500 miles this way, that's Michigan. And I also noticed because of this whistle, I noticed that my boost stays a bit higher than normal, because that's what, of course, what you would see if you have a leak. Like, imagine this high pressure air, right, that's supposed to go inside your cylinders and create combustion and give you power, and now you're losing a part of that air. So you're definitely losing power, and you lose fuel economy. But actually, I see 57 liters per 100 kilometers. That's 57. So 58 is 4 miles a gallon. So 57 is just slightly better than 4, which is my typical fuel mileage for when I have a heavy load. So probably that's why now it's best to reduce the speed so I don't burn too much fuel because of this leak. So yeah, it's definitely a air leak. So now you're up to date, right? So load delivered, paperwork submitted, I will be paid today. Still haven't heard anything from about that government loan. But I really don't like, you know, booking another load right away. I usually prefer to take a couple of days off. And so I'm gonna drop the trailer in my yard, and then tomorrow morning drive the truck to the shop in Guelph. And I don't think it'll take him long if it's since they sound, even on the phone, they sounded pretty familiar with this problem. But also what I tried when I was sitting at that Petro little gas station before, I could not duplicate the noise when I'm idling. I only heard that noise when I was driving, right? So now I opened the hood and I started the engine, and I was playing with the throttle, and I was able to duplicate that whistling sound, you know. So now I know they'll be able to find it, because, you know, if you show up at the shop and you only tell them, oh, check this out, drop side rail, tailbird, 4-axle truck, 3-axle trailer. So yeah, if you cannot show the problem to the shop, quite often they'll just send you home, because they won't be able to duplicate the problem. But now I feel good. So yeah, it drives me nuts, this sound, but I know they'll be able to find the cause. So that's your trucking life, a day in my life, right? Get loaded, sit at the border for 3 days, but the broker paid me a couple of extra bucks. Spent 2 hours cleaning the freaking forklift, crossed the border, drove like a maniac, but within the limits, to Montreal. The money should be in the bank soon. Do you hear that? It's like constantly changing the pitch. It's like, and that's why I knew right away that it's not the belt, because sometimes, you know, you can confuse it with the squeaking of a belt, but my RPM is the same, 1340, right? If this was the belt of course spins depending on the RPM, right? So if the RPM of the engine is the same, if this was the belt, the noise would be constant, right? But this one keeps changing depending on the boost, because the truck tries to maintain the speed. So even though the RPM is the same, but the computer constantly adjusts the horsepower up and down to make sure the truck drives at the same 92 kilometers an hour or 57 miles per hour. So we'll get it, we'll find it. I'm back at the Line J. I started from this morning at 4 o'clock a.m. and the difference is, first of all, the truck is empty. It's only 1:30 p.m. and you see a bunch of these oversized guys with mobile homes. You see, nobody, very few trucks, but of course, again, it's still early, but I feel very tired because I've been driving, you know. So I did it was 300, over 300 kilometers that way, 300 back, so it's 600 kilometers, so almost 400 miles. Well, maybe a bit less, but I got up at 3 and now it's 1:30. I think I'm done. And I saw A&W burger place here. I forgot about this one because this Denny's is closed, right? So the plan now is to go to A&W and get some beef patties, or maybe get like a couple of burgers. I hope the snow doesn't get too bad, but I want to get up at like 5 o'clock again. Like I said, I like getting up early. I'm gonna get up at 5, get half a tank of fuel and get DEF, and I'll remember to stay away from pump 22 and 23 because they don't work for DEF, and that's it. And then start trucking. So from here it's about 3 hours to my yard in Cambridge, and so yeah, I'm gonna go there, drop the trailer, and then bobtail back to Guelph, which is like 10 minutes away, and figure out where's this air leak is coming from. But the truck pulls okay, but I was driving very slow. I drove like 56 miles per hour, trying to preserve fuel. But yeah, it's all this whistling. It's kind of like actually interesting because I turned down my radio and I'm driving and the engine is whistling, you know, everything is cool. And what's funny is that when I was in Montreal, like, we had blue sky. You remember when I was recording that section of the video, I was so bright at that Petro Canada little truck stop, I had to wear glasses. And now 3 hours to the west and we are back in winter. Like, usually Quebec has worse weather than Ontario, but I guess this is some kind of a storm. Some kind of a storm is moving, and I still have one guy interested in my neck extension, in that 36-inch neck extension, and we were just talking on the phone, and he was going to Ottawa with a load, and I'm driving back, and actually we met, like, you know, we passed each other, and he says, "Oh, there you are." I said, "Hey, Steve." He's driving a Peterbilt, and he had like Caterpillar 980, like a big, you know, wheel loader. And he lives not too far from me, and so he wants to look at this neck extension and potentially buy it. And but he has a Trail King, so he'll have to modify it because his frame is more narrow than Fontaine. Fontaine is wider, so the flip box is wider. But he says he understands that, so he can buy it, give me a couple of $1,000. That would be cool. All right, this is it. So very long day for me. Sorry I couldn't show you guys unloading, but that's how it happens sometimes. Like, I would, if I started filming over there, I would definitely get killed. You know, it was really dangerous. So off to the next load as soon as the truck is ready. But actually tomorrow, when the truck is in the shop, I'll start looking for a new load. You know, winter, January, you gotta make some money. And I talked to one guy, oh, I mentioned this, right? One guy has a load to Alberta. I said, yeah, as long as I can load Monday, I can do it. But so far I haven't heard back from him, so I guess they wanna load Friday. Well, if he doesn't find anybody, they'll get back to me. But actually, I'll start checking the load board even today, since since now I know that whistling thing, it's not something serious. It's not my turbo, it's just the air to air. They'll probably fix it tomorrow, Wednesday, so I can start looking for something for Thursday, Friday, Monday. But I really want to take at least one day off, so I'll be looking for something maybe for Friday or Monday. Thanks for watching. Ciao.